Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Oh, there we go. It's Monday. Good morning, excuse me. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Monday, December 1st, 2025. Let me just get the headphone in and we will get started in just a second. It is Monday morning, and Monday morning is doing what it does. But welcome to the Java Cafe. We typically do Mental Health Monday on Mondays, but today is World AIDS Day. And we've talked about it before. We've talked about sexual health. We've talked about the rising numbers of STIs and HIV, specifically within the Black community, Black and Brown communities. And so this is not a new conversation. And I would like to ask you to be sure to share this episode today, to invite others to listen in on the information we're going to share with Dr. Aima, who is not a stranger to the Java Cafe. We're going to bring her in just a second. And we're going to talk about some of the work that she's doing with something, a program and a campaign, a promotion, a partnership that engages men and some women, because women go to barbershops too, that engage them in the conversation around breaking the stigma around HIV and AIDS. And I just want to ask an introductory question. And you can answer this in the comments as you were hitting like and as you were hitting share. And just go back and if you can, just reflect for us a little bit about when you remember hearing about HIV and AIDS. And I see we were able to get one of our guests, looks like in the room in the background there. But excuse me, do me a favor in the comments, just let us know when you remember. We're talking about cutting out stigma. And if you remember, early on, there was a lot of stigma, a lot of presumption about certain populations that were prone. And so we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. But what we're going to do is hear from Dr. Aima in just a second. She's going to say hello and catch us up with what she's been doing in this area and in the work there at Harvard. And so, Dr. Aima, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Looking, first of all, you're radiating this morning. I'm loving the braids and I'm loving the dark red background. So let's just get that out the way. Good morning to you. And again, good to see you back in the Java Cafe. Please greet the people and say hello. And after that, I would ask you to describe by your observation the status of stigma in 2025 still around HIV and AIDS.
So good morning. Good morning. It's great to be here. And I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. And on this World AIDS Day, I want to first say, part of the reason we really acknowledge World AIDS Day is because it's still a thing and we're trying to make it not a thing. So, 44 million people have died from HIV since it was first described worldwide. And in the US, that's nearly 750,000 people who have died from HIV. And now that it's very treatable and very preventable, we need to make those numbers dwindle to zero. We want to work to end the HIV epidemic, especially here in the United States. And so that's why I'm here. That's what I'm talking about. And to the point about stigma, like you mentioned, Jimmy, when we're talking about HIV, when this was first described in the 80s, the type of stigma that we were seeing then is not necessarily what is happening now. But I think what's happening now is that because it's not on the front of people's minds, because many people are not thinking about HIV and haven't necessarily had a direct impact with HIV, they've forgotten about it. So the stigma is coming from silence or lack of familiarity with this HIV and that it still exists. And so in some ways, stigma has worsened because of the silence or lack of conversation about the relevance of HIV today. So it's still very much a thing. You'll hear in this conversation today, we hear things like, I'd rather get shot than say I have HIV, because people don't realize where we are in this conversation, that is preventable, that is treatable. We hear people say they just don't want to talk about it, they don't want to hear about it. And I think a lot of that is because we've made so many improvements that there's a lack of conversation about where we are today with this virus.
It's interesting that you talk about the, and I believe if I understood you right, your word was worsening. I asked folks to, in the comments, reflect back when they remember about hearing initially about HIV and AIDS. Mm-hmm. And I remember hearing early on I remember running into a nurse that I knew, and they were protesting around having to treat patients and things like that. I think one of the most monumentous times, or monumental times rather, specifically I think for the Black community and also the straight community, was when Magic Johnson came in and let us know. And I bring that up also in the point that you said that science and research have made it possible for people to live with HIV, and not, if I understand right, the science not going into AIDS, which is based on a certain below level T cell count. And we're not doing the full education today, but how many do you know offhand? How many years? I don't remember. I think I was just out of high school, which was in the early 90s. So what do you know how long it's been since Magic Johnson has been living a very healthy life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I
I'll
think
go to Chat GPT in
yeah,
a
we can
second while
check.
we bring our
We can
guest in.
check. I should just say that I am an infectious disease physician.
Yes.
I'm on faculty at Massachusetts General Hospital, and I'm associate professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School. And so this is the world that I live in and think about every day. And just like Magic Johnson is living a long and healthy life, we know that with treatment today, people can live a long, healthy life with HIV. So I'm sure we'll check the facts about Magic Johnson. I feel like he was diagnosed in the late 90s, but I'm not totally sure if I got that right.
We'll check it out in the background. We're getting ready to bring our your colleagues in. If you could tell us real quick so we can bring them in, and just an aesthetics thing, I'm going to ask all my guests, just because the software is doing new things with Instagram. Please do your best to stay centered in your shot, just to make sure everyone can see you clearly over there. Tell us about cutting the stigma, because in 2025 there is still a stigma. And at some point, Doc, I want to ask you a little bit about PrEP, because that is, I just think about our young people. So all right,
Yes.
cutting the stigma. How did you morph into this education and in a medical area faculty piece, and then come up with this model of working with barbers? Tell us about cutting the stigma.
Yeah, so this story started when I was in Tennessee. I was on faculty at Vanderbilt University, and we were really interested in trying to address the needs of young Black men with HIV. And the numbers were really staggering. Young Black men were getting diagnosed and not getting into care. And so we started this conversation saying, how can we engage young Black men in care after they've had an HIV diagnosis? And so we partnered together with Streetworks, now known as Today's Hope, in Nashville, and they had been working with barbers in the Nashville area for over a decade, and said maybe we can have this conversation with barbers. So we brought a group of barbers together, some of who you'll meet today, and said, this is what the data is showing. Can we work together to address this? And our initial conversation with barbers, we heard so much more about stigma. We heard, like I said before, I'd rather get shot than say I have HIV, that it's an abomination, that just take me now, kind of thing. And so we said, okay, let's back up, let's partner together, let's focus on stigma. And the barber said to us, we can do this, we can work together and address stigma in our communities, but we need to learn more about HIV. We have to have a reason to be able to bring it up in the barbershop. But let's partner. And that's where this relationship and this intervention, cutting out stigma, began. We know that stigma is a really, really difficult thing to move, right? We had to change people's thoughts and ideas. And we realized that we had to do that to be able to really improve on health. And we're talking about HIV, but we can think about how that really relates to other health priorities in the Black community as well. So that's where this started. Yeah.
And also things like social determinants of health. And then let's also name, there's a focus here with, men, and, presumably it has been, some don't prefer, I want to be very careful and intentional. Some men often don't prefer to seek a medical provider when they're in need. So I won't say all, and the tradition and what they say about us. I'll just say some. And so these two gentlemen that are getting ready to come in, cut the stigma, even of that. and their intentionality. So if you don't mind, Dr. Ama, I'm going to bring them on screen and you can just introduce them very quickly, and then they're going to say hello and introduce themselves. So I'm going to bring them on screen as we speak.
Wonderful. So I was really honored to welcome Steve Nelson, who's the owner of Distinguished Gentlemen's Barbershop in Nashville, and Dewan Conley, who's the owner of Anointed Hands Barbershop in Nashville, who are both amazing members of our Cutting Out Stigma team and family.
Absolutely. So, brother Dewan, when I saw the tag on Instagram with anointed hands, I said, yeah, I got a good sense of this brother. Got anointed hands to make them brothers look good. Good to see you in the room this morning and welcome. Please say hello to the audience. And after you say hello, if you could do the same like Dr. Ama, and give us one word for what you would say describes the current state of stigma around HIV and AIDS.
Good morning. And for me, the stigma, the best word I can give it is real.
The stigma being real. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good morning again. And then also, Steve, if you could do the same, say hello to the audience and give your word for what you're experiencing around the stigma as well.
Hey, good morning. My word would be inclusive.
Okay. So wait a minute, Dewan, remind me of yours. I'm 54. Remind me of yours. You said real and include. Okay. So, all right, let's have this conversation. So first of all, let's back up. Steve, I'm going to start with you first this time and just say, give me a little bit about who you are. Keep that, because now we know brothers can talk. Tell us a little bit about who you are and how you met Dr. Ama. And then after that, give us the context of why you said inclusive, because I'm going to say by presumption, I would presume you're, a straight male. And to hear you say inclusive with the stigma around this, it's amazing. So a little bit about who you are, how you met Dr. Ama, and then give us some context of why you chose the word inclusive.
All right. Well, my name is Steve Nelson. I own Distinguished Gentleman Barbershop. The way I got involved was I was partnering with Streetworks, a community activist group, and I passed out condoms in my barbershop, free condoms. So evidently, Ms. Eminem approached Streetworks. They approached us because they was looking for barbers, so they already had a condom distribution with several barbershops. We had some meetings. We talked. I knew nothing about HIV. And as I started to learn about HIV and as I started to go into the community and recruit barbers and the more information that I learned, the more that I found out that it's all inclusive. This is not a gay man's disease. It's a disease. And in our community, as Blacks, specifically in the Black community, especially in Memphis and Nashville, it was really, far as the new contractions, we were up there. So I wanted to get involved, and with more information comes more responsibility.
I definitely, Steve. My audience, you don't know me, but my audience. So I'm a Black gay brother, and I believe with what Dr. Ama was saying around the stigma and things, and you and the word inclusive. Within our community, there's stigma and things, and it's it's very interesting. So thank you, sir, for that word. Being inclusive and just what you said there in that last part. Dewan, let me ask you the same question. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us how you met Dr. Ama. And then you said that it's real. And I mean, that there's some presumptions that you can make there about, real in our community or real for Black men, real for, Black women. You know what I mean? And so just a little bit about who you are, how you met Dr. Ama, and then also your context for why you use the word real.
Yeah, good morning. So I'm Dewan Conley. I'm owner of Anointed Hands Barbershop. The way that I met Dr. A was they were going around, they were recruiting barbers, and one of my partners with the Tennessee Trade Show, which is a barber show that we have here annually in Nashville, he told me about it. And when he told me, I was like, okay, well, HIV, it really don't pertain to me, but hey, I'll give it a shot. They had, and just to be totally honest, they had a dollar amount with it. So with most of us, when money is involved, we go out and we give it a chance. So once I met Dr. A, and they were teaching us so much information that I didn't know that was valuable for me to bring back in the shop, I was very locked in and became, very focused on the project at hand. And the reason that I said real is because I keep it in the barber world. We had an end of the pilot program, and we were on a panel, and a guy asked, how would we make it easier for gay men to come into the barbershop and be more comfortable? And the reason that I had to explain to him was because of the stigma. For me, I'm 48 years old. And being 48 years old, I came along with the Ryan Whites and the Magic Johnson situations, in which the stigma was a lot of lies that made people have misconceptions of how it was transmitted and how you could catch it. So with that being said, those stigmas that were planted in our minds because of lack of information, a lot of those were torn down and within me and within my shop because I was educated and taught by Dr. A, Ms. Hurt, and the other people that led the pilot program.
You and Steve are just it taking me in a whole different place, because I think one of the major things that is so important, Dr. Aima, what you're doing with these brothers is you are cutting the stigma, because it is not, was never, quote unquote, a gay disease. And so that's the last time we'll say that, because that is not the full focal point. Our focal point here today is talking about what you all are doing. And Steve and Dewan, sorry, when y'all get me into a real passion place, I forgot the other one. It really, I'm serious, man, because as a brother, what I, just shared earlier, it is very interesting to have brothers that have either done the work or never had an issue around other brothers' sexuality. The priority here for you is people, not just men, but a focus on men, but and I would presume Black people, a huge part of it being safe and healthy. And Dr. Aima, in one of my other partnerships with the entity that has a medical division, and I don't know if you saw on my social media, I've been sharing stats from 22 and 23 about rising numbers of STIs and HIV within the Black community. And so, Dr. Aima, if you don't mind for a second, and brothers, I'm going to come back to you. I would like to, for one quick second, brothers, don't go nowhere. Tech may make it look like you're off of here, but I got y'all. Dr. Aima, I want to just go and share some information with the audience via this PowerPoint. I'll post it and they can look at it fully, but just give us some high level points from this PowerPoint. Dewan and Steve, we'll be right back with you in 2 seconds. So Dr. Aima, this here, let's first of all get it right to where it needs to be. Just, who is this? We know who you all are here, but generally, who is the universe? Who is the ecosystem that supports this and making sure that this is out there the way it needs to be?
Yeah, so the Cutting Out Stigma team, it's a partnership between researchers like myself and community partners. So we have academics and physicians like me, Dr. Jessica Perkins, who's at Vanderbilt. We have community partners. Our initial primary partner was Streetworks, who you've heard mentioned already, now called Today's Hope, led by Ms. Sharon Hurt. And then our barbers, our barber partners. Steve, who you've met, has been with the team since the beginning. Dewan joined the team a little bit later, but this is really an academic and community partnership who built this initiative. So the intervention itself includes 2 things. So and as you mentioned, the real focus is really on Black men's health. This is on Black men's health equity. We know the numbers in our Black men, and we know that 1 in 21 Black men in the United States will get HIV. If we don't do things differently. That is the lifetime risk of Black men, period. If we say Black men who have sex with men, it's 1 in 3. So it's a high lifetime risk, no matter who you love, who you have sex with. And so we were focused on Black men. Part of that is recruiting and training barbers who take care of Black men, because they are healers, they are leaders, they are communicators. So training them on about HIV, about prevention, about communication, about things like Steve was talking about. How do we break down these barriers? We know in our community that there are barriers around sexuality and stigma. There are barriers that have to do with gender identity. And so we have to get into those really difficult conversations. So training, and the training was on all of those things. It was also on communication strategies, around bias, around confronting our own biases. So training was one, introducing the barbers to community resources around HIV and prevention, but also things like mental health and how do I get a doctor and how do I sign up for health insurance. And the other part was the multimedia intervention. And so we worked with Mojo Marketing and PR in Nashville. You know the importance of media, right? And so we developed a social media campaign. The barbers would post on their social media a few times a week. The study team posted. We had some billboards up in Memphis and Nashville. And we had stuff in the shop because they said to us, well, we have to have something to spark the conversation. So we had some posters, we had condoms, we had capes, we had branded things to help spark conversation in the shop so the barbers could actually start having these conversations. And then they did the work and it was really successful. So I'm really here to celebrate what our barbers can do, what our community leaders can do when they are really given the capacity and the platform to really help us in this fight of advancing health equity for our communities and for our Black men specifically.
I'm going to bring the brothers back in just because of the screen and whatnot. But Steve and Dewan, I have to ask you both, what has it been like being a part of this? And there, you know, Dewan, I'm going to come to you off cuff for a second. Your title is Anointed Hands. I can presume that there is presumably some Christian values that you may have. And, you know, one area where stigma in this space may be interesting is, and we're Black folks here. We, you know, within the Black church and whatnot, some of these topics are very interesting. How has it been for you in working that balance of maybe some, you know, philosophies and you prioritizing the health? If because I think your answer there is going to help a lot of people. I'll just be very real with you. How are you balancing that, sir?
For me personally, with this project, I particularly don't try to mix religion with what we're trying to do, because when you start to do so, the difference in philosophies of whether it's right or whether it's wrong, you know, if you're dealing with things such as promiscuity or any of that, it can come several different ways. So I just try to spread the educational part of it and, you know, try to have my people know that this is real and it's spreading fast. And as we recently learned, 18 to 25 is one of the largest groups that's contracting the disease. For whatever reason, you know, I'm not of that high level of expertise that I can say why, but it is. And so we just want to, as Steve said, we give out the condoms. We also have, you know, we both participated in the community health program with Vanderbilt University, and we have other resources such as Plan Bs, etc. through the which we were privy because of the program. And you know, when you try to bring in religious beliefs and things of that nature, you can kind of get sidetracked, and it can deter people from listening to the message.
Brother Dewan, you don't only have anointed hands, sir. You have an anointed spirit. And Micah, I'll just say Micah 6:8 is where this platform, you know, has a little of faith background. So, sir, applause to you, because I anyway, that's a whole nother show in itself. Steve, what has it been like for you, you know, being a straight man in our Black community, understanding a whole lot of stigmas, understanding some real concerns you know, of our sisters with the whole, you know, we're not going to go too much into it, but Dr. Aima, you know, talks about the stigma and there brings up like the DL thing. We know that there was some rising numbers among our sisters because brothers, for whatever reason, weren't either comfortable or whatever. The balance for you, sir, in being a brother from community straight and fighting cutting the stigma in our community, what is that been, what has that experience been like for you, sir?
Jimmy, this actually came to me really easily because I'm a recovering addict. So in Narcotics Anonymous, we talk about the stigma is the last thing to go. I'm an ex-convict. I'm recovering from a lot of things that go on in the Black community. So I understand stigma. You know, I remember what it was like trying to rent an apartment, even though I had the money and the credit, but I still had to pass. So having that right there, I came into it from a different place. And then the other thing was I was so educated. I didn't know. And so like, I'm ex-gang affiliated, straight out of the ghettos of America. So I didn't have a comfortable interaction or connection to gay and lesbian, LGBTQ that I have today. But it's because of education. It can't get on you. If it ain't in you, it won't get on you. You know what I mean? So I end up.
Wait a minute, brother Steve. There's no way in the world. I'm a, because just to be. I'm sorry. Just to be very. I mean, come on. Sorry, Steve. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is I didn't even know anybody with HIV before coming into this, and then HIV visited my family. It came home, it roosted, and I had the education to be there for my family because we started to do the same stuff that other families would do that don't have the education. They can't drink on it. Remember, one cup over here, they got to be over here and sit over there. And then just by God's grace, He knows better than we do. That I had all the information. And one of the biggest things I want your audience to know is that we consider HIV now chronic illness, and what that basically what that means is it's treatable, and you can live a normal life. Because it happened to one of my nieces, a great niece, and she was under the age of 18, and this is what we're talking about. But if she stays medicated and she's diligent with her medicines and things that she needs to do, she can live a normal life, bear children and everything. And I think when people find that out, that has a lot to do with reducing the stigma because people think once you got that scarlet letter, some that you're different. And it's just not so, not today, with today's medicine and everything.
So
Dr. Aima,
imagine a bunch of Steves and Dewans, being the messengers, being the educators. And, we talk about this all the time because Black men, like you said, Black men are not, we don't always have trusted healthcare institutions and infrastructure for our communities. We definitely need to work on building trusted healthcare infrastructure. In the meantime, we have a bunch of trusted community leaders, some of whom you see right here, where our Black men are going. And so why can't they be at the front lines? Why can't we equip them to be at the front lines to really help us address these really, really critical health issues in our communities? And you can see how effective they are at doing it.
So
I'm speechless.
no, because very quickly, brothers, Dr. Aim, I don't know if you knew this. I was appointed by the mayor of the city of Boston 22. And I was on the Black Men and Boys Commission, on the mayor's Black Men and Boys Commission and working with the Office of Black Male Advancement. By legislation, there were a couple of seats on that commission that I'm not going to use the term I always use, that you had to be part of the LGBTQ 2S LGBTQIA 2S plus community. And I ended up being in the Health and Human Services Committee. And Stephen Dewan, I'm going somewhere with this. I'm a gay Black male. I'm in the hood. I know the stigma. I know the health. I know what it is for brothers to not seek out health and be transparent in a situation where maybe how you contracted a STI, it may not be important and philosophical, but medically, it brings up questions about practices. And then if, DL or bi, you remember there was a period, Dr. Aima, where our sisters, there was a big increase in numbers of Black women who were contracting HIV because for some percentage was due to this whole DL thing. I'm stuttering and speechless because I've been trying to raise that the health, there's even some violence on some of our streets that comes from some stigmas that are around this, y'all. And so to hear you all, Steve, where are you located?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. And let me add something to it too.
Come on, sir. Come on.
Juwan mentioned it, but I don't think that he fleshed it completely out. See, once we got involved in this, right, Dr. Aima hooked us up with Vanderbilt, and we were able to get a community health worker certification. So even in that certification, now we are qualified in a field to do what we do. But community organizing, especially in our community, first is you got to you got to represent. And if you don't got no paperwork behind you, Black people don't want to hear nothing you got to say. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you get the proper training and then you get the paperwork and then you can throw Vanderbilt behind that. And, like I got all that stuff hung on my wall. So when I speak to them from a place of power. You know what I'm saying? For the lack of a better word, and it gets through and gets home. So knowing what you're talking about, being able to counter certain courses, these things, and then having the paperwork behind you to say that you qualified to even be having the conversation you have in our community means a lot. And I mean, that was just something we got to do. You know what I'm saying? We got to do that because Dr. Aima's connected. She's so well connected.
Wait. Hold on. The way she's so real. You heard the passion and the experience of her connections there. Dr. Aima, before I come to you, Dewan, did you have anything to add there based on what I said and then what Steve chimed in and added as well?
I mean, basically, it was what I said earlier. Being in the program and then getting the connection with Vanderbilt and completing the community health program, health worker program, and all of the things that you're able to gain resources to. For instance, last Monday, I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I went in fellowship with the undergrads on Founders Day, and we had a table, and I spoke to students in the student union on behalf of course, myself, the fraternity, but also cutting out the stigma, educating the young Black men, allowing them the privy to know the information that 18 to 25, which is basically the ages that the campus is basically made up of, the majority of the campus is made up of. Hey, you're within that age range. So I'm offering you today these condoms, I'm offering you literature, and I'm giving you information on PEP and PrEP. I'm also telling you and giving you the warning. So basically, you went from not knowing to, if we're using it as traffic, you're at the yellow light now because you have the information. Now it's your time to be cautious. And with all of that being said, I probably never would have ever gotten off into anything like this that I could share with my community, that I could share with my peers, my fraternity brothers, that I could allow Dr. Aima. She sent me down to Memphis, me, Steve, and another one of our brothers, KG. We go to Memphis. We meet the guy, Steve from SCORE Clinic. I was privy to set up 2 chapters in Memphis to sit down and talk to him so we could set up a community service day and we can go forward with the education in a place that is very pivotal right now because they're number one. And so if not afforded this opportunity by her and by the program, I never would have been this resource that I am today.
Steve, I don't know why you're sitting back there laughing. You must be looking at my facial expressions and stuff. Because hold on. See, look at the devil trying to take my mic out. Y'all do. You do understand because of what you're doing. But as a black man that's gay that knows that there's a pocket of our population that's not getting the information, don't feel comfortable even talking about it. And so to see Dewan, to lighten things up a little bit, you're of Christian faith, but you also said you a Q. You know, that's a little controversial right now, right? Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. We could do it after dark about bro. I had to. Now you see my colors. If I was going to pledge anything, and I'm a little, high yellow brother, so you know what I would be pledging. Anyway, I'm not.
It's only one way.
I'll take it back to church. One way, baptized in Jesus. No, sir. Listen. I really appreciate. Oh God, we're a little bit over time. Dr. Aima, we're going to, talk about some other things going down the road or whatever. But I just there's some local folks I want to connect you with. Also, just a couple of points. I'd love my audience. There's a couple of points of clarification I want to make. Dr. Aima, we did get the year. Dina, thank you. Where did it go? She said that the year was 1991. Oh, not 80. 91 from 88. Oh,
88.
It was 88. No,
I think it was 88 because I was graduating. I wasn't grown yet. I was like 18. I'm thinking it was 38 years ago, something like that.
It's over. It's over. Let's just say settle unequivocally. It was over 25. It was over 25. Where did it go? There was something else in here. Miss Teresa, we just want to hold space for you. And really, this validates kind of what I was raising a few minutes ago. And I think even in 2025, there's still a stigma, not just with HIV and AIDS, but there's still a stigma. And let me just make this line of demarcation. When I'm talking about stigmas here, and I'm talking about the stigma with HIV and AIDS and the stigma around DL, I'm not automatically, let me get y'all off screen and say this full time. I'm not automatically correlating HIV and AIDS with DL and bisexual or A or pan or whatever you are. What I'm saying is because of some of the stigmas with those, like HIV and AIDS have stigmas, the foundation around why we have the stigmas is why I'm drawing the correlation. And then the other thing is that because of some of the stigmas, people aren't talking, and then you wind up potentially dealing with the stigma. Dr. A, all right, I'm getting ready. Y'all done got me started. I got to get out of here and go take care of some.
Can I say one?
Yes.
So I want to say
Jesus
one little
Lord.
thing about that, and part of the reason that we are bringing to the table Black men who are excellent communicators and leaders is that it really doesn't matter who you love, who you're with. And like Steve said, we're talking about an inclusive approach to Black men's health. Dewan and Steve and all the other Cutting the Stigma barbers are providing information that is for everyone. It is for the health of everyone. It's for uplifting everyone. So the narratives are not as important as the fact that we get out information about health, about prevention, about testing, about treatment to everyone. And that's how we build the health of our whole community. And so that's why I think this is so powerful. It's not about Black sexual and gender minorities. It's not about Black women. It's about our whole community coming together. And you can see the ways in which Dewan has done that. He's brought it to his fraternity, the way Steve has brought this to his community, his recovery community in different ways. And that, I think, is really the power, the true power of this approach, because none of those approaches are at the hospital where I am. And that's why I think community is so, so powerful. And they're going to be in Boston in a couple of days. We are interested in having this conversation more and figuring out how we can bring this model.
Hey, hold on. So I know the conference, there's going to be some different logistics, but they're still coming.
They're still coming. They'll be here on Wednesday.
How long?
Wednesday to Friday.
I'll sidebar y'all. For one, from some logistics and, you know, showing you all where to go and you know, making. Oh,
Please.
sorry. Hold on. That's Alexa. Our audience loves that. That means I got to get ready to get off of here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Steve, Dewan. Thank y'all. I keep saying y'all don't understand because there's a different intersection of my marginalization here. That there's an affirmation that away from the topic, which is so important that we're talking about. I've been trying to raise this locally here, even down to the points that it's been verified from some folks that even some of the beefs, the shoot 'em up bang bangs, is associated with some of the things that we raised around the whole DL thing. And so I just want to share one comment with you all. I didn't read all of Miss Teresa's previous comment. She had shared that I got so excited. She said that my sister was not part of the LGBTQ community. She contracted from her partner who was on the DL. She got tested and after he started showing symptoms. She also said here, as a point of ending on a good note, and just salute to all three of you. I appreciate these courageous Black men sharing their lives honestly. My sister contracted HIV at 19. Had her partner been honest and courageous as these men maybe, and Miss Teresa, we just, you know, hold space for you. The other thing is accuracy of information is so important. I did look on Chat GPT, and Dina, thank you. The point, and it's so interesting. They gave the exact day. I remember the press conference. It was on November 7th, 1991. And so so 90, what was the math, Jesus? Hey Siri, how many years ago was 1991? So Steve, you was right. I think you said 33. So, you know, 34 years ago, to the point, Dr. Aima, that we made up when we started early in this was that one of the things, I think the biggest things, and I'll speak to folks that may, you know, in the future be diagnosed or whatever. It's not a death sentence like it was perceived 33 years ago. Magic Johnson, and he was living before that's when they were taking, remember the cocktails? They were taking the cocktails with 10, 12, whatever. I don't want to lie. A lot of meds. And now, you know, folks, and I got to let y'all go. Obviously, Dr. Aima, we're not done here. Gentlemen, I got a lot going on this week, but I got to figure out how to be able to grip y'all up and just share, you know, some local eater. Well, Dr. Aima, you're familiar. I'm sorry. Y'all are good. But if I need to make calls to a couple of hospitality places, Dr. Aima, let me know. I really appreciate you all, Dewan and Steve. I really do. And I do some like national men's conversations, and I've been wanting to do, I've had a couple of convos around the stigma because our brothers on the other side of the stigma issue, they deserve health care. And then then there's the whole mental health on both sides. In DL, and then you may be living with HIV and doing healthy, but you ain't told nobody. And what are you, because of what you said, Steve, about the 1 cup and gentlemen, Dr. Aima, I usually, you know, let the queens close out, but I believe that you will be okay today. That having Steve and Dewan close out. So I don't know who's going to close out first because both of y'all are a little preachy. So who's going to give the benedictorial remarks?
I'm just a street brother, and what's most important to me is that brothers to come from the type of background that I come from understand, one, that we can reform and change and actually give back to the community that we may have taken a lot from. Two, man, ain't nothing soft, weak, or anything like that about, you know, being a stand-up guy in the community and aiding and assisting in the community, you know, and I want to do my part. I'm 55. I know I don't look it. I know I don't look at that, but I'm actually 55, and I've been around for a while. So, you know, I want to leave a better world than the one that I came into, and that's it. Thanks for having me, Jimmy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dr. Aima, we gotta figure out how they meet brother Joey Bennett from Yard Time. There's a couple of brothers up here that are doing, Steve, the work that you're talking about, stand-up guy, that have, you know, the whole wrongful conviction community and folks that have been locked up for 33, 32 years and the convictions change. I don't know if you all saw the documentary Murder in Boston. That we lived through that, and check it out on well, I ain't giving them no free plug. Brother Dewan, your benedictorial remarks, sir.
I just want to say thanks, man, for having us. My biggest thing is, man, you know, the barbershop, we offer haircuts, but as barbers, we're also a community hub. I'm a second generation barber. My grandfather taught me that you're only as good as the resources that you can share within your shop and your community. This right here, man, it has been a blessing to me to be able to help the people and to be able to educate the people. By schooling, my major was education, specification in K-12, physical education, and minor in special education. I never used it because I chose to stay in the barbershop, and it's come full circle, and I thank God for it. I thank God for Dr. A, Steve, the whole complete team has hurt everybody because this has helped me to grow. And it shows that you can teach an old dog new tricks. I'm not as old as Steve. I'm just 48. But hey, man, iron sharpens iron is a real phrase because we have really been in some places with some guys that didn't believe they was only in it for the money. And for me, Dr. A will tell you, my patience ain't very thin. My patience is very thin. And so I kind of say stuff to some people when we were doing the pilot, but it was only because when I get locked in on something, I take it very serious. And I thank God for this blessing that has been for my life.
I'll just say this, and Dr. Amy, you are going to end up having the last word anyway. Dewan, I will say this project helped you, and everybody might not get the context, but you identified your teacher out of the fivefold. I'll leave that alone, sir. Dr. Aima, go ahead and close us out. Let us know what's next, and we'll be good.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we are really interested in spreading this model. Like, this is a model that has worked to address HIV stigma in Tennessee, and we know that it can work in other cities for HIV stigma. But as I mentioned earlier, other issues of importance to the Black community. We talked about stigma, for example, for mental health. But today, here on World AIDS Day, we're talking about HIV. Dewan, Steve, and one of our other barbers, KG, and some of our team will be in Boston this week. If you're interested in learning more about the program and potentially being a part of it, you can hit us up on social media, at Cutting Out Stigma, on Instagram, on Facebook, or on our website. But we think that we have really locked into something powerful here with our Black men at the forefront. And so please help us kind of spread this movement and cut out stigma and prioritize the health of our Black men.
One of the key things you said was Black men at the forefront. And that's a whole nother Zoom. Because here of late, I've been saying that we can protect Black women and raise them and support them and still allow Black men to be seen. So y'all get off of here because we'll be here another 20 minutes, 3 hours. Dr. Aima, I'll follow up with you about this week, but thank y'all, because this I'm sending this to a couple of people that have some influence around the topic. So, you know, because Boston likes to be at the cutting edge of stuff and whatnot. Well, let's get moving on this. Let me get y'all off here before I start cussing. God bless y'all, and y'all have a good day. What I say unto one, I say unto all. And we'll talk soon, gentlemen. Thank you all so much. Thank
you so much. Thank you.
Bye. Listen, everyone, I hope you all enjoyed today's, not so much enjoyed today's topic, but learned from these folks about the impact of cutting out stigma. If y'all really know me, and if there's any folks on here that I've talked to about this DL thing and HIV and numbers and whatnot. Anyway, oh shoot, we have a show at 11 o'clock with Bishop Kenneth Moles. So I'm going to get off. I have to send him a different link. Well, I could just send him. I'm going to take a break. We'll see y'all at 11 a.m. with Mondays with Moles with Bishop Kenneth Moles. See y'all in a few minutes.